I don't like driving this car.
Good morning to you.
It hasn't been used in 5 years. So
We got to dive on through 11.4. So remember what we do and we don't do with these -1 power inverse matrix things. Are we ready?
No.
Remember, you do not do what Math Excel says, because they say a terrible thing, right? So, inverses by calculator only, right? Not the show me an example thing. Not show me an example.
So our calculus teacher make us do the long way?
Yeah, but whatever. That's not my problem. No, I'm kidding.
Can you show us the one that it tells us to see why it's wrong?
What's that?
Can you show us the one that it says it's wrong so we see why it's wrong?
The one that's
Just says you're wrong and shows you why you're wrong.
the one that's wrong and shows you why you're wrong. So was that you're saying there was a problem that said I was wrong?
Show me the example.
So why it's wrong.
Oh, it's not wrong. It's just painful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's correct. It's just really hard. Yeah, no, you got to know how to do matrix operations. It would take like 2 days for us to learn matrix operations and then do all that. Yeah, it's just not worth our time. I mean, yeah. I mean, I had to do it, but it's just not worth our time. I'd rather spend our time learning other things. Yeah. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I had to do it. You guys will do it too.
So tell me.
All right, so anyway, so just put that thing into your calculator and hit the inverse button, right? That's all we're going to do. So load that thing into your calculator. So matrix A, so you just go, so go into your calculator, type that thing in. Yeah, I didn't send out the YouTubes. I'll try to get that tonight. I just kind of ran out of time yesterday. So put that into your calculator. I can't really take time to write all that out again. You look at yesterday's YouTube if you missed it. Yesterday's YouTube I did write out all the steps. So basically hit the buttons on your calculator, put that thing in, hit the inverse button. I'm going to do it right now. You do it if you got a TI or any calculator, you know how to do it. So put it in there and you basically hit second matrix. I'll just say it real quick, but if you want the details, look at yesterday's YouTube. Hit second matrix, go over to edit. Hit enter, hit 3 by 3, type in all the numbers that are there on the screen. So second matrix and go over to edit. Remember that? So second matrix, so you got to hit sex. I'll write out a little bit. Second matrix, then go over twice to edit and hit enter. And then you've got matrix A, and then you just type in matrix A. And when you're done, then you put in the A, the 21, 57 minus 10, 14 minus 9, 5, 7, 35, 29. And then you hit second quit. Remember, you quit out of that. It's got it stored.
You got that too, right?
wait, and then how do you do this?
So everybody good there? So you do all that, get it typed in, second quit, get out of that mode, and then go back into second matrix again. Second matrix one more time, and this time just hit enter right away because you're on names and that's what you want. Just hit enter and it puts A on the main screen, doesn't it? And then just hit the X to the -1 button, which is the matrix button, without hitting second. Just hit the X to the -1, which means -1 power. Hit the button and you get a ton of decimals, right? So what do you do with all these decimals?
Hit math.
Math, enter.
Yeah.
So when you get decimals, then you hit the math button, which is on the left edge, third from the top. Hit math, and then hit enter. So the math button, and whoops, didn't mean to make that color. And hit enter. And it'll change it all to fractions. Math, enter, and boom. Well, it changed some of them, not all of them. Oh, they want decimals anyway, so I shouldn't have done that.
Type in integer or decimal.
Yeah, so you just round it. So it wants decimals. So I'm getting, I shouldn't have done that. So I'll go back. Here we go. So I got 0.0. How many places they want to round it? 2 places. 0.01, 0.01 minus 0.02. That's what I'm getting. You guys getting that?
Yeah.
And then I have to move to the right to get the next column. I have to do my right arrow to get the next column, which is 0.06, negative 0.01, no, 2. Rounds to 2. And 0.01. And go to the right again. I'm getting negative 0.01, and 0.01, and then 0.03. There's what I got.
Yep.
Is that what you guys got?
Yep.
Round them all to 2 places. So there we go. All right, I better move on. All right, so number 19. Here we go. So this is 3 equations with 3 letters. We did some of these already previously. 3 equations, 3 letters. Remember, they're a big pain. And they gave us nice ones. This is an awful one. Like, remember how we try to get rid of all the X's or try to get... That'd be terrible. I mean, you could do it. I guess the Z's don't look too bad. Anyway, I'm not going to do it by hand at all. I'm going to do it by graphing calculator on this one. I mean, you can do it by hand if you want to. That's great. But I'm not going to. And plus, all the answers are decimals. It's going to come out really ugly. So I'm just going to use the graphing calculator. Now, here we see some of the power of matrices. I'm going to convert those 3 equations with 3 letters into one big matrix equation. Here's how you do it. You just peel off the X, Y, and Z and just write the numbers only. 24, 59, minus 12, 16, minus 10, 6, 3, 4, negative 1. Like that. Just the numbers, no X, Y, or Z. See that? No X, Y, or Z. And then you put right next to that a column matrix with X, Y, and Z going down like that instead of sideways. Equals, and then you put on the right one column matrix for the 23, the 1, and the 2. Now, why? Because that's the same. What do I mean? Now, you don't have to write this out, but let me show you that it is the same. If I was to multiply this matrix, these are times, right? Multiply those 2 matrices, do you realize I would get this stuff on the left? That's exactly, how do you know? Well, because now, again, don't write this down. Don't actually even do this. But I just want to prove to you that this is this. It's the same thing. Why? Because as you multiply, remember the left hand goes across, the right hand goes down, remember? Remember the rule, the way you multiply matrices? So see, that would be 24 times X, see? Then you would go over and down, remember how multiplying works? Plus 59 times Y, and then over and down, minus 12 times Z. See how it's working? It's exactly producing these. So anyway, you don't do it. We're not going to actually do it. We're just saying that's the same thing. I'm just pointing out to you that this big matrix equation is the same as the original. It's just a way of rewriting it in matrices instead of 3 separate equations. Okay, so what? Okay, great. Well, now we can solve that big matrix equation in one step. I mean, a lot of typing in, but it's technically one matrix step. How so? Well, again, we're in the matrix world here, so it's a different world. So you got to think about there's different rules in this different world, in the matrix world. Think about this big old matrix like it's a number. What if you had 7, and this matrix is like an X, and this is like a number 5 or whatever. So I'm just pretending those matrices, the numbers are like a plain number, the letters are like a plain letter, and the other numbers are like a plain number. How would you solve 7 times X equals 5? How do we solve that in our real number world? We divide by 7, right? Boom, done. 5 sevens, right? We would just divide, because when you got something times, you divide by it, and boom, you got it. Good, so let's do that same thing in the matrix world. Let's divide by that big old matrix on the left. On both sides. Let's just divide by it. Well, how do we divide matrices? Do we learn how to divide matrices? Can I actually go up here like that? Can I go up here and say, okay, I'm going to divide this? Can I go up here and go, yeah, I'm going to divide that whole matrix here, and whatever you do to one side, do divide, and it'll cancel out here. And can we do that? Do we divide matrices?
No, inverse.
Inverse. That's how we did divide. That's what divide really is. It's multiplying by the inverse, isn't it? Are we all clear on that? Remember we talking about that? You guys never forget anything I talk about, right?
No.
So what was it? 7 times x equals 5. So another way you could solve that. So here, let me put it back the way it was. So instead of dividing by the matrix, we're going to multiply by the inverse. Remember, again, this is like 7 times x equals 5. So really what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 1/7 on both sides. You with me? And that'll cancel this out, and that'll get you x alone, won't it? It's the same thing as dividing by 7. Just multiply by 1/7. Same thing, right? Everybody good so far? That's what we're going to do. 1/7 is the inverse of 7 in the real number world. And we can do the same thing here. Except one small carefulness we've got to observe. Here's the left side, here's the right side originally before I brought in the 1/7, right? Here's the left side, 7x. Here's the right side, 5, before I brought in the 1/7. I multiplied the 1/7 on the left side, and I multiplied it on the right side. That's not quite the same. You should do it the same. Notice I should multiply it on the left here, not the right. If I'm doing it on the left there, then I better do it on the left there to be same-o, same-o, same-o. Right? You got to be same-o, right? When you got to do the same exact thing to both sides. If they were equal before, you treat them the same, they'll still be equal. You treat them different, who knows? You got to treat them the same. That's the property of equality, right? Two things are equal, you treat them exactly the same, they'll be equal afterwards, right? So I can't be multiplying the 1/7 on the right. I've got to do it on the left. Why? Because I did it on the left there, I got to do it on the left here. Now you're probably thinking, who cares? 1/7 on the left, 1/7 on the right, it makes no difference. Right, in the real number world, it makes no difference. But in the matrix world, remember what we've already seen? The order of multiplying matters. It matters in the matrix world. So you've got to be very careful that you do whatever you do in the exact same order on both sides. So, long story short, then, well, the long story is already long, but now we're ready for the conclusion to the story. So here's what we do then. We're just going to come in here and say, I'm going to multiply by the inverse. Well, in fact, yeah, I'm just going to write inverse. I don't have time to write it all out. I'm going to multiply by the inverse on the left here, and I'm going to squeeze in the inverse, meaning that whole matrix inverse right there. So is that making sense? I'm going to multiply by the inverse on the left and by the inverse on the left of the right. And that will do what? That'll cancel this out because it's his inverse. When you take an inverse times something, it goes away. And all we'll have on the left side, when I do that, all I will have on the left side then is x, y, z, just the letter matrix. And on the right side, I will get the answer in that one matrix step. I've got to take the 24, 59, negative 12, 16, negative 10, 6, 3, 4, negative 1, inverse times the 23, 1, 2. That's on the right side. Does everybody see what I'm doing? So I'm multiplying by the inverse matrix on the left of both sides.
So we also make the 23, 1, and 2 into a matrix, right?
Yes. So basically you put this into your calculator, let matrix A, we call it A, B, C, whatever you like. Call matrix A, you know, the big old 24, 59, negative 12, 16, minus 10, 6, 3, 4, minus 1. Let that be A. Let B be the 23, 1, 2 matrix, and take A inverse times B. And that'll be your answer. See, it's the inverse of matrix A inverse times B. And just hit the buttons on your calculator. In one step, you'll get the answer. A inverse times B. So let's do that. So put that in.
And decimals, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, 100th. Yeah, so decimals. And you'll get X, Y, and Z. All three answers in one step. So go to edit. Type in matrix A, 3 by 3, 24, 59, negative 12. So remember, you got to enter each matrix separately. So you enter matrix A, then you go second, quit, then you go back into the matrix menu and go down to B, over to edit and down to B. Then you put in matrix B, which is a 3 by 1, and you quit. Then you go back into matrix mode again. You call forth matrix A, inverse times, go back into matrix a fourth time, B, enter. All right, I got answers. My answers are X. Here, let me get a different thing. I'm getting X equals 0.2, two places? Yeah. 0.29. Y equals 0.23, it rounds. And Z equals negative 0.23. You guys getting that? Behold the power of matrices. Just solved a 3 by 3 in one matrix step. That's why we use them, because they're useful at times.
We could
Yeah.
do that with the previous problems we did.
You'll have to do by hand as well. So part 1 will be a by hander, and part 2 will be a by calculator. Yeah.
So this will be a good part 2.
This is a good part 2.
Okay.
It'll be there. I guarantee it.
You're gonna make us do it by hand, Mr. Gunn?
Not one awful like this, but those simpler ones.
Like cavemen?
Yeah, just like that. That's what they were doing on the walls in the caves. This. That's right. Yeah, I'll make you use tablets too. No pencils. All right. Right, so this one, I could do it by hand, probably faster than we could do it by calculator.
What's pi? Oh no.
So, right, so yeah, you could do it by calculator. If you want to type into your calculator 2, 3, 3, 4 inverse times the matrix on the right, 9, 10, boom, you get the answer. See what I'm doing? You just peel off the 4 inverse times the matrix on the right.
But it's asking for the solution, is it? Oh, the two
That'll be
is-
it.
Okay.
That'll do it. Or you could do it by hand.
Uh,
And you'll get negative 6 sevenths, which you'll get. Does that make sense? So you can do them by matrix inverse times 9, 10. Or you could just, you can make this negative 6 and this positive 6 and add them up. Get those to cancel. The by hand method, we did some of that before. Multiply through by negative 3, multiply through by 2, boom, boom, boom. Remember from algebra, minus 6, minus 9y, minus 27. And this will be 6x plus 8y, 20. Add them up. These cancel. Minus y is minus 7, y is 7. So I already got the 7. Plug in, you'll get x. By hand or by calculator? Is that good? Everybody see how the calculator way works? You just take the coefficients and you go inverse times the matrix on the right. Because that's how we solved it, right? All right. So everybody gets, so I would just, let me just write it real quick. I would just take this thing and just go, look, 1, negative 2, 4. So 1, negative 2, 4, negative 3, 5, negative 2. 5, negative 2, 0. 0 for z there. Inverse times the matrix on the right. 127 minus 25. Boom, you get your answer. That good? Easy peasy?
lemons.
All right. I don't know, maybe we're going to wreck all of our time. We need to get on to other things. But, yeah, so same thing. Let's type, this one's a no solution. Let's see what it looks like. 5 minus 1, 3. Negative 1, 5, negative 3. Want to type that in real quick? Hit the inverse. Times the matrix on the right. 2, 3, 12. It's going to somehow tell you no solution. I'm not sure exactly how it does that. So, 3 by 3.
Or so one of the tutor was saying that when you get two variables and with zeros.
So A inverse times B. It says singular matrix. That's what I thought it did. It said on my calculator it says singular.
On the Casio?
Not the Casio. I'll get the TI. Singular matrix. What does that mean? That means that matrix is not invertible. That matrix is not married. It's single. It has no inverse. It has no other one that goes with it. It's a singular matrix. It's on its own. There is no inverse. It's a singular matrix, which means you can't. There's no solution here.
It doesn't add up to 1, right? There's nothing that can take it back to itself.
Multiply. There's nothing else that will multiply by it to be 1. No. No. There's no inverse. Is there any numbers in the real number system that have no multiplicative inverse? 0. 0 has no inverse, right? 0 times what is 1? Nothing. Right? It's the only any other number. 7 times 1/7 is 1. Any other number has a multiplicative inverse, but not 0. So this is kind of like that. Right? So, okay, let me look at this. Acme Steel, blah, blah, blah. Certain day, stainless steel manufactured. 400 with 10 gallon, 550 with, reading right here, 400, 550 with 5 gallon, 850 with, on the same day the following materials were manufactured. Oh, this is steel, and the others are aluminum, okay. This one says, oh, it's, okay, so yeah, they just want me to type in the numbers. So it'd just be the 400, the 550, and the 850, and then the 650, the 800, and the 700. Okay, there's nothing to that.